Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend when you can't carry on. Yo, 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 what the f is up, fight fans? It's your man 3K the Boss, aka Mr. Two Hands Up, five, five. You already know what it is. It's a new week. It's a new week. It's a new week. So, with that being said, let's go over what happened last week, and I'm going to explain what I feel as though a lot of people are getting confused. And you know, me and DT3 are going to go into it real heavy later on today on volume 2 of these boxing streets. But until then, I'm gonna go solo dolo, and yeah, let's do it. Let's do it how we do this shit. Let's get it. Carlos Rosado, what's goody, my brother? George, the angry old man. What's good? Chain with the ice though. With the muck and ice though. I'm trying this whole thing where I don't cuss for like 2 to 3 minutes, man, so they can stop, you know what I'm saying, messing with my stuff. But we'll see how good that goes. Dolomite, what's goody, man? That video had me dying, bro. That's all I got to say about that. Good stuff, man. Our brother Dolomite got a channel, man. Go subscribe, man. Go subscribe. You'll be very surprised, man. The guy got some talent, man. The guy got some talent, I must say. From one Reaper to another, much respect. Yeah, man, so let's go, man. Oh, Anthony Breland, salute, Brody. He said, finally, the glam squad is out of here. Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. We got, you know what I'm saying? You know, hey, man, my mother always told me was a youngin' when I was doing stuff wrong, man, was done in the dark always come to the light, man. That man was living in the dark for a real long time with his delusions. And you know what I'm saying? It took a nice right hand to make that brother see the light and some stars and hug a rope and his eardrum get busted. But hey, man, the delusions is over with. So shout out to the whole glam squad. And yeah, you know, I find, you know, their take on this whole situation is extremely funny to me. All I can say is never underestimate the joys of a loser. Never underestimate the joy of a loser, because Malik Scott is on top of the world right now. And I, for one, just can't understand why. Because if you are a newly announced head trainer and your biggest fight, your only fight, happens to be a loss, I don't think that is something that you should be bragging about. Shout out to Dolomite with a $20 super chat. As always, appreciate you, my brother. He said, shout out for the motivation. Yeah, man, keep that shit coming. Keep that shit coming for sure, man. We need more, you know what I'm saying? We need more, you know what I'm saying, of the bros out here talking that truth. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, anybody start a channel, you already know you got the Reaper support off the break. You got my subs, and you know what I'm saying, you got my blessing, and you already know I'm supporting to the fullest. So, yeah, man, shout out to you and what you got going on. You already know Two Hands is going to be paying attention all the time. So, yeah, man, really like what you're doing out here, man. Just keep that shit up, man. Don't stop, man, bro. Definitely do not stop. Said 78 Sports sounded like he was about to cry. Oh, yeah. As soon as he got off the live, you already know it was some real, like, you know what I'm saying, one of them old school ass whoopings your grandfather, your moms used to give you, or your pops used to give you back in the day. The joints that have you all sucking up and shit, can't get a word out, and you're like, I don't know why you treating me like this. You know what I'm saying? It was one of them type ass whoopings, man. So you already know he's on suicide watch right now. So shout out to the whole suicide watch. That would be the entire LDBC. And shout out to all of those people who just managed to not show up when they said they were going to show up after the fight. So yeah, man, I just find it hilarious. I find it hilarious. You know what I'm saying? All that bravado, all of that confidence. I mean, it left so fast. I mean, y'all went from being on top of the world, supporting this guy and all of his delusions, to, I mean, just disappearing like a Thanos snap. Just all in a Thanos snap of Tyson Fury's right hand. They just disappeared. James Jameson, salute. Look, man, so we're going to do it like this. Cherry picking gone wrong. That $100 million AJ fight was his best bet. Absolutely, man. So, you know, if you, so in my eyes, turning down that $100 million AJ fight only tells me that you were shit-faced scared of that boy. Like, for real, he had you jumping all the way up out your shadow, had you jumping all the way out your skin. Because look, man, I'm here to tell you this. I don't care if I was 100 pounds soaking wet and a 6'7" dude wanted to fight me. Look, man, the hospital bills is going to be taken care of because I know I'm going to be feeling great. And all my pain and all of my anguish, I'll be feeling great knowing that I'm cashing out a 9-figure payday. Wouldn't you guys? I mean, shit. I'm sure any one of us would have took that payday and ran with it. But apparently Deontay Wilder chose to go another route, got completely pummeled. And the crazy thing is the third fight was much worse than the second fight. He got dragged through the rounds and completely beat up. And all of those people who said Deontay Wilder put up a valiant effort, it was a great fight, he didn't do anything. He got beat round by round, and you got delusional pundits trying to say they're calling it how they see it when really they're not. They're just trying to make Deontay Wilder look like he's performing, like he's in rare form. Yeah, he was in rare form because it's the first time you ever got to see him get his ass whooped like that. Completely destroyed. Just destroyed. And y'all out here acting like he's putting forth his best effort in the ring. What did he do? Other than go on the back foot and walk corner to corner. Anytime you see a person do that, all they're letting you know is that they're absolutely scared of whatever's taking place in the ring. So all of this bravery and all of this heart that Andre fucking Delusional Ward, love him as a boxer, can't stand when he goes on his delusional shit as a pundit. Because this is the same dude where he said that he don't want that Fury smoke again. He shouldn't take that Fury smoke again. And now you're treating this dude like he's coming out and he's doing something so foreign than what we seen in the first two fights. Deontay Wilder did absolutely nothing that anybody should be bragging or being impressed about. And you know, this goes back to Malik Scott and the smelly nutsack interview he did post-fight. This dude was saying how he was proud of himself and proud of the way, you know, everything went. Calling Tyson Fury a great fighter and all of these things. Now, I know one thing about Deontay Wilder. He is a butthurt, delusional prick. So with that being said, you know what Deontay Wilder going to do to his ass. It'll be the last fight he ever freaking be in the corner for Deontay Wilder. I can tell you that much. Please believe me. I had Fury by KO 6-10. Yeah, I had him getting knocked out in 4 to 6 rounds. And you saw that first knockdown, brutal knockdown came in the third round. So you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody was really far off in their predictions here. I really and truly think that Tyson Fury wanted to drag him through the rounds, get his point across by beating all piss, shit, and sweat out that boy. Like, I'm telling you, there were points and times in the fight where I saw Deontay Wilder getting punched by Tyson Fury, and you could visibly see his soul leaving his body. Then it would come back like his consciousness. Then his soul would leave his body again. Then it would just go back inside him, you know what I'm saying? And his consciousness would come back. Then his soul would leave his body again. I was just like, man, Tyson Fury, just go ahead and hit him with one good hard right and just Shang Tsung that whole shit. Because I'm telling you, he was visibly beating the spiritual ambiance out that boy. Every time God tried to take him, Deontay Wilder and his delusions would come right back. God would try to take him to heaven again. Deontay Wilder's delusions would snap him right back. Look, man, God was basically trying to tell you, just go ahead and let your soul go, bro. Just let your soul go. Come with us. It is much better on this side of the street because we see why you guys don't want to cross the street. We know why y'all don't want to cross the street. Y'all are so protected like Kevlar vest, dragon skin, and all of the fucking above. Y'all protected over there. And every time you take your Rudy Poo candy asses across the street, something gets beat, something gets busted in your freaking ear, you get cracks in your skull, your girlfriend ends up crying, her eyes out, and you just look just emasculated, just bad, all around bad. Now, elbow cough. Shout out to Arsenal. Now, I wanted to say this because, you know, a lot of people got this shit twisted, y'all, and I'm here to let you guys know what they have twisted. They need to understand that for all of the, you know, the praise that they're trying to give Deontay Wilder and call it bravery, what you guys saw was not bravery. I'm going to explain to you what it is. Delusions will pump a battery in your back and make you do things that you wouldn't usually do, or you're not comfortable enough to really go out and do yourself. So let's look at it like this. For the entirety of that past year, Deontay Wilder, we already know he was dead silent at first. Then he comes back. Of course, he had to take the fight because we know that Anthony Joshua was primed and ready, you know what I'm saying, to fight Tyson Fury. So he had to jump back out there. And the powers that be basically forced him to jump back out there. Now we have to look at the followers and the web that's spread out, that is Deontay Wilder and his delusional misfits. All of these guys, those dudes empowered Deontay Wilder's delusions on a completely different level to where he truly believed all of the things that they were saying about him. Like the dude runs around, he really thinks that he's some king, and those are his legions of followers, and everybody believes in him like he's going to lead everyone to the boxing promised land like he is, that marquee heavyweight boxer. Basically, what I'm trying to tell people is this. Don't confuse a person who is forced in a position to go out and perform any way they perform. Don't confuse it with bravery. Because once again, when you're delusional and you got a bunch of delusional people follow you, it'll force you to do certain things that, you wouldn't necessarily do. I truly believe that Deontay Wilder was operating off of cowardice and nothing more. And we seen that as soon as he got punched in the face, he returned right back to type. So I wouldn't call it bravery. Because you get knocked out or you get knocked on your ass, or you land one or two lucky punches and knock him down, but you do absolutely nothing but get emasculated for the entirety of the 11 rounds, that gives me nothing to be proud of. If I'm in your corner, that's nothing to be proud of. If I'm anybody who's talking this boxing shit, it's nothing to be proud of, because let's look at the character of the individual and let's take it for what it is. The dude, he's 1000% a fuckboy. So he's never conducted in this thing we call boxing. Like, he's never moved with grace. He's never moved with no type of he's never been humble, man. And he got humble Saturday night. So I would never part my lips to say what Deontay Wilder did was something a brave mention. I will only say, hey man, when you're a delusional individual, you got to go down a real dark road. Hopefully, within all your delusions, you're hoping that it pans out right for you. But that wasn't the case. So just look at it for what it was. It was a delusional man trying to stand up and use people and their delusions, to be strong in areas where he showed up several times and he was weak. We got to remember, this dude came to the first press conference. He had his head to the sky with headphones on his ears. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, Deontay Wilder was nothing more than who he is. And for the fact that you didn't shake that man's hand after the fight, after the 3 wars you guys have been in, listen, dude, you're a piece of shit. And that's all I can equate it to. You were a piece of shit who got the biggest red pill you couldn't even swallow the red pill. Fury made you choke on that motherfucker. You couldn't even swallow the red pill. Fury had you choking on it. Pat, 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 boom, 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 beat bop. All of that good shit. All of that good shit. So at the end of the day, I'm never gonna lend my voice to sit up here and tell y'all some shit that I don't truly believe. And I don't believe that Deontay Wilder was brave for not one moment. You got to be a stupid motherfucker to sit up there and say, knowing that you got a family as big as yours, to say, hey, I want to go out on my shield. Because you just don't want to admit that he's the better man, period. And at the end of the day, he's the better man. He's still talking some stupid shit. So guess what? In all of the ways that I laid off of Deontay Wilder, and I said that I wasn't going to go on the whole bashing campaign because it's not about Deontay Wilder, he opened up the floodgates for me and my editing skills to fuck him all the way up. So y'all can thank him for the entertainment that y'all are about to receive. So you can clap that shit up all you want in the comment section, because I will be delivering you guys a bunch of content of Deontay Wilder getting steamrolled with substance though. Because that's one thing that he lacks. And we got to go over the psychosis, the delusions, you know what I'm saying? Just the shortcomings that are of this 6-7 shits thing at the end of the day. Okay, so we got another super chat in here. George, the angry old man, appreciate you, brother. He says, to quote Ring IQ, beat on him because he's wrong. Oh shit, where'd it go? To quote Ring IQ, beat on him because he's wrong. He picked those cherries, far for too fogging long. Absolutely. And for me, I've never felt, and to be perfectly honest, y'all, I've never felt the way I feel about him. I've never felt this way about any boxer in the history of me watching fights. As long as I've been watching fights the entirety of my life, I've never felt this way about any boxer. I've never had the type of, the type of disdain that I have for this individual. So for me, I'm sitting there, beat that motherfucker, put that bitch in the hospital, put him in a coma, turn him into a vegetable, because that's the only motherfucking thing that's going to get to him if he's slobbering out his mouth and if he's sipping all types of freaking solid food from a straw. That is the only way that you're going to get to an individual like that. So yeah, continue to beat on his head, make that shit soft, make that shit look like the Martin Lawrence episode where he ran into Hitman Hearns and got knocked all the way out of his goddamn Converse. Give him all of that type of work. So I've never been as excited to see somebody get pummeled, somebody get beat on the way he's got beat on, because I don't hate anybody. But that individual right there, I truly dislike the person that he is. He could be a great family man and all of that, but those aren't aspects of his life that we're privy to. We're only privy to the man, the boxer, and everything that he gives us, over his timeline of his career. And what he's given us nothing but disrespect. So why shouldn't I be 10 times disrespectful? Because if you disrespect the game gonna be disrespectful to you. And those are facts. The way you laughed at Anthony Joshua and said you would make food out of Anthony Joshua after that man lost, that man still didn't even go out his way to treat you in that same way. So that just shows you men and mutts. There's men and then there's a mutt. And that motherfucker is a mutt. Period. I want to read some of these comments and I'm going to hit off what y'all saying. Rude awakening to reality. Absolutely. AJ kissing something. I think it's called heart. Corey Z's Wilder is a bum. He's fucking trash. He's trash. Look, man, Deontay Wilder will forever be your king. Is going to be on a milk carton missing for the entirety of, I'd say, the end of 2021 and 2022. I don't think he's going to pop up. I don't think he's going to pop up until next Groundhog Day. And if he does, the reason I'm saying that, because, Groundhog Day, things tend to happen the same way over and over. The only things that happen in the same way to Deontay Wilder. Now, what can Deontay Wilder do? What can Deontay Wilder do to salvage some type of payday, to salvage what's left of his tarnished career? The only thing that he could do is go right back into a danger zone, and those two danger zones are Dillian White or Anthony Joshua. God damn it, pick your poison. Either way, that shit ain't going down good. Those are the only two paydays left for him to receive. And do we really see him going in there with Anthony Joshua, Dillian White? I don't know. I don't know about it. Wilder didn't show any improvement. Fury was sloppy. And that's a fact. Gross salute. And the fact is, Tyson Fury came into that fight at 15%. I mean, look at his waist. You could tell that he was visibly out of shape in this fight, and he still went in there and did what he had to do. Basically, what Tyson Fury did was just say, you know what? I can pack on these pounds, put in half of the cardio I'm going to put in, and I'm still going to go out here and work this bump. Because one thing that Malik Scott and one thing that the rest of his team didn't do, they never focused on his defense, and they never brought in somebody who within about a year's worth of time. And Deontay Wilder had a lot of time to where you could try to polish some of those things to where you could make it visibly. You can look visibly better for the viewers and the audience and show that there are some levels of improvement when it comes to your defense on the back foot, when it comes to Fury laying his weight on you in the phone booth, being able to, get some choppy hooks and uppercuts off in the phone booth. He wasn't able to do any of those things because they completely ignored the one thing that is important: defense. You can tell him to come forward and all of those things, but the one thing Fury knows how to do, fight off the back foot, give you the jab, stay long. I mean, that is the school of Crump. You know what I'm saying? Stand long, giving you the stiff 1-2 or the stiff 1-1-2. You Fury can fight on the inside. Fury can fight mid-range. He knows how to use his feet well. He can completely abandon his feet and just go straight into bully man territory. You know, and with all of that being said, all I'm saying is, where were the improvements on the defensive side of things? Now, I will say this: Malik Scott was trying to tell him to keep his phone off the hook, keep his earmuffs on. But at the same time, Deontay Wilder is going. You're not going to be able to implement these things to where they sit in your mind in repetition unless you're doing them on a regular basis. And all we saw was Deontay Wilder hitting mitts. We never saw Deontay Wilder working on defense. We saw him ducking under a couple punches. But if you know anything about Tyson Fury doesn't throw the necessary type of shots to where you're going to have to be really ducking under him. You're going to have to use some shoulder. You're going to have to shift your shoulders, and you're going to have to perfect your angles. And all of the things that Malik Scott was giving him, for that guy to be proud, he's a delusional fuck. Congratulations and shout out to him, because I've never seen anybody be proud of being on the big stage and losing for their first time out. So that just goes to show you that these guys are okay with being less than mediocre, because that was a less than mediocre performance. You know, if we've learned anything about the first fight, guys, they try to say that 2 knockdowns equal to draw. No, it doesn't, because 2 knockdowns are nothing more than 10-8 rounds. We know this. And there is a 12-round fucking fight. So are we going to, you know, rest in the delusions of other human beings and sit up there and act like because he got 2 knockdowns, that was a great performance? I don't think that we should. And I don't think that's something I could ever subscribe to. So shout out to those guys and their delusions, because if you believe that you guys came out there and you performed on the level that you should, you didn't. They were literally hoping for a prayer, and that prayer was the knockdown keeping him down, and you couldn't keep him down. So what does that say about Deontay Wilder's power, Reaper gang? What does that say? Is he truly one of the most powerful punchers in the heavyweight division? Because if Steve Cunningham, shout out to Steve Cunningham, if he can put him on his ass as a cruiserweight coming up to heavyweight, what the fuck does that say about Deontay Wilder's power? I'll wait. Without leaping that right hand, without that leaping right hand, Wilder has no weapons. Absolutely. Yo, and shout out to my man Batshit, man. Yo, it's so crazy, Batshit, to watch this man sit there and like hold his right hand. That's literally one of his tendencies. That's one of the things that he consistently does. He was holding his right hand, cocking it, kind of moving awkwardly, shifting on the back foot, hoping that Tyson Fury would walk into something like that. Who does that? Who does that? Like, he was holding his right hand now. You got everybody thinking that your wrist is messed up. No, that's just one of your tendencies when you're getting your ass whooped. Because I believe in the second fight, he was doing the exact same thing. Fucking coward, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, we got to go in. And see, the thing is, you know, people would expect us to just sit up there and just bash on him and, you know, just dig into this dude, pause, for all of his shortcomings, rightfully so. But nah, here on Reaper Gang Radio, we're going to talk about the reasons why you fell short. And we're going to dog you at the same time. We're going to assess the fight. We're going to assess all aspects, you know, leading up to the fight. I already started chopping up the video, and I mean, I'm starting back from the press conferences, going to the aftermath of the post conferences, the do's and the don'ts. So this is what we do. And unfortunately, we just do a really fucking good job at it, bad shit. And he's just going to have to pay the piper, man. The Bronze Plumber Salute says, entertaining fight, but not exactly a great example of specialist pugilism. Not at all, because Tyson Fury, if we look at Tyson Fury and the performance he gave, he couldn't put on a performance like that against Usyk or Joshua. Deontay Wilder isn't on those two gentlemen's level, so he would have to fight differently, even though I feel like from the Anthony Joshua that I saw against Alexander Usyk, I do have Tyson Fury beating that Anthony Joshua, but, you know, those are two completely different fighters. And we know that he has the mandatory coming up with Dillian White next. So, you know, he's going to have to show different capabilities when he's fighting those guys. But for fucking Deontay Wilder, man, nah, man, that wasn't a good showing of pugilism on both sides. I mean, Tyson Fury But at the same time, I will give Tyson Fury an A grade on his performance simply because of the fact of he had to be big, burly, ugly, nasty, mean, and very up close and personal, intimate and direct with all of his shots because that's the type of opponent stylistically you were dealing with. You were dealing with a fucking wild man who's fucking like this, that operates like he's getting stung by 1,000 bees, just windmilling his hands around his head, trying to evade the next sting. That's how Deontay Wilder fights. So when you're dealing with a motherfucker like that, you just gotta jump on that motherfucker. You gotta just jump on that motherfucker like a spider monkey, Skip, or hopped up on Mountain Dew. Shout out to Talladega Nights though. Like a spider monkey, Skip. Fury was all on that man like a spider monkey hopped up on Mountain Dew. Anarchy! Anarchy! Anarchy, goddammit! Anarchy! Let's go! Shout out to Dolomite. He said Malik Scott know Wilder was a Putney Farnsworth. And the hypnosis wore off after the first punch by Fury. It was like, yo, all of that tough guy shit that was in his face when the fight started, bro. Like, Fury looked at that man and said, "You bitch." I just was like, and you could just see Wilder was like, oh shit, it's about to go down. And when he got caught with that first punch and he leaned his arm over the rope, I said, ooh, them shots is coming in real nasty. Like those are the type of punches that come off early that are extremely personal. The ones that are really, really, really trying to do hella damage. Like, he ain't in here to play with you. If y'all were on the streets right now, there would be no mercy. That shit sound like a WWE event, pay-per-view. Kind of is, I think. But yeah, it would be no mercy. And I do believe that Tyson Fury was very, very, barbaric in his approach. But once again, you got to be that way with that type of individual. Because like when the delusional motherfucker strike, the right and the left have to strike that much harder. And fortunately for us, as fans and as viewers, they absolutely did. So I commend all of the actions to Tyson Fury on that evening. Red glove salute. Let me go back to what my mans was talking about. It's up there. Damn, I'm up there. There's some shit. Y'all got some comments pouring in this motherfucker. Gonna run and hide for another year to gather excuses. Man, look, dude. It's like, and unfortunately, this is the type of world we live in boxing now, where the following and the subscribers and the commentary that comes from random channels that are completely disconnected from what they really see in the sport and all of that shit. It actually holds some weight. Because here's the thing about, social media and boxing that kind of like are going hand in hand, and just like the rest of the world. If I'm saying one thing to you guys, and it's believable, whether it's true or it's not, if you guys tend to lean on whatever I'm saying and believe that to be true, in some level, it makes it as such. No different than what the LDBC does. If they say some shit pertaining to Deontay Wilder, and they have a following of 50,000, 100,000, however many people follow behind it, and they believe it, regardless of it's factual or not, out of sight, out of mind kind of territory. If they believe that, there brings some sort of truth to it. The only thing that separates the delusions from the truth is when you see a motherfucker get pummeled in the ring like Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury 3. And that's just where we at in boxing, man, to where it's just like, yo, delusions carry over to where the only thing that's going to be able to stop it is the right type of opponent and the right type of punch, unfortunately. So, and it's just sad that, the level of opposition isn't as heralded as, the social media bullshit. But we have a tendency, but fortunately, when we get to see it play out once again, we have a tendency to put all of that bullshit to bed when we get to see a real motherfucker operate. And we got to see a real motherfucker operate. So I'm highly thankful, y'all, that Deontay Wilder is out the way. Not that I'm saying that I don't want to see a Deontay Wilder fight. I wouldn't mind see dude fight again. I'm not that type of person. But what I'm saying is the division has been stagnant. And we've got a fucking huge pool of talent and a lot of young blue chip prospects coming up that got there, you know what I'm saying, that are really salivating at the gills to really get at those belts from the, you know, from the Philip Hergoviches to the Big Baby Andersons to the Tony Yokas. Then you still got the Dillian Whites. You still got the Andy Ruizes out there, even though he got dropped by Chris, the outer nipple areola. You still got, you know, Anthony Joshua still out there in his 2 loss. So what I'm saying is we get to visualize some sort of progress and we get to put the bullshit to bed. And everything that Deontay Wilder is, there is nothing that these delusional motherfuckers in the LDBC can say that is going to change the trajectory of what his career is going to be in the conversation and the talk points. Now, I'm sure you guys have seen how Fox has tried to jump out there with, I guess, Tay Jones was the one testing the gloves and act like they was trying some sort of gloving conspiracy. All of that shit is dead based off of the allegations that Deontay Wilder was making. So we would have to be, if you're a reasonable individual and you were smart enough to understand that, they're going to have all sorts of people, probably overkill on the individuals from the Nevada Athletic Gaming Commission that are going to be in these rooms to watch all of these things and watching these gloves beyond closely with a level of Superman X-ray vision. So at the end of the day, those excuses are not going to carry over. And I'm not going to let that shit, you know what I mean? I'm not even going to entertain that shit on this channel. I'm going to put that shit to bed. At the end of the day, the better man won and your guy who wasn't who he said he was. So it was better when y'all motherfuckers thought. It was y'all would have been better off if you would have accepted the ass whooping the second go round, because you see the third one got that much worse. So there's nothing to challenge over on our side. Maybe you need to challenge your guy on who the fuck y'all really think he is, because he ain't nothing but a fucking lollipop. Straight sucker. Bars. Straight bars. Rolly the Barbarian King says Fury versus Usyk. Right now, man, I got Tyson Fury beating Usyk. I feel like he the only heavyweight, and I was saying this after the Anthony Joshua fight. I feel as though right now Tyson Fury is the only heavyweight, based off what I saw, that has the skills, the ability to be able to download, take, and process what Usyk is doing fast enough, has, you know, so many different skills underneath in his tool shed, and has the ability to abandon a plan A to go to a plan B, to go to a plan C. And if those things don't work, be big and just wear you the fuck down and just beat you up. So for real, I feel like being the imposing 6'9", 270-pound figure and not punching on the level that, you know, some other heavyweights punch, I feel like, you know, Tyson Fury, all he has to do is make him wear the weight. If he makes him wear the weight and you fatigue him and you keep if you keep the fight in close and you just put that 270 plus pounds on him, chip away with those chopping shots and shit like that, I feel like it's going to be a very, very bad night for Alexander Usyk, because I don't care who you are. 6'9", damn near scraping 6'10", 270 plus pounds is tough enough for any fucking Adonis to try to get up off of him. It's almost impossible. It's like, here, motherfucker, you're gonna wear this jacket, all 272 pounds of it, and I don't see any way around it. And on top of it, it's just like, yo, he's just got a superior intellect, IQ, very well seasoned in what he's doing, and you can see that he's getting a lot more proficient with his punch. So Tyson Fury has the ability to lay on the outside, make Usyk come to him and make him pay. Because my whole thing is, man, just get behind that motherfucking jab. A good punch will take you around the block, but a great jab will take you around the motherfucking world. These are facts. So get behind that jab. Stay behind that jab. If he comes in, make him pay with a step back, nice check hook every motherfucking time. Shift the angles, pivot the fuck out of him, be the bigger guy. And of course, you know that Tyson Fury, one of his tendencies, fight by fight, is to make you wear the weight. So go ahead and put that 272 pounds on him like a big ass chinchilla coat and make him rock the fuck out of that shit. And see if he can come out of that shit on top. And if Alexander comes out of that shit on top, there's no question he should be pound for pound number one. You can't put fucking Canelo above him. Honestly, I feel like Alexander Usyk is pound for pound over Canelo right now. Because if I look at one's accomplishments next to the other, I would have to say that Alexander Usyk has never came up short in his biggest fights. So for me, I would have to say that Alexander Usyk should have, you know what I'm saying, should be above, you know, Canelo pound for pound as well. But that's just my opinion. And, you know, and opinions like assholes, we all have some. Me, I just had a tendency to be, you know what I'm saying, a little bit more honest than most. This motherfucker IVA is crazy. He said, my girl loves when I give it a stiff 1-1-2. Oh, don't they? Don't they? A mean stiff 1-1-2, all up in good body shots too, all up in the belly. They love a good stiff 1-1-2, all up in the belly, right when you touching, right at the bottom of the stomach. Vicious blows in the guts. This is Reaper Gang Radio. This is an unrated boxing podcast. So fucking deal with it and all of my raunchy fucking commentary. It's damage limitation and spin. Hey man, we're absolutely living in the age of spin right now. And Wilder got spun. What do you make of Wilder fans in the long count? You want to know what I make of that? Shout out to you. You want to know what I make out of that shit? A bunch of sour apple, like my man a wise rapper from Zone 6 Atlanta once said years ago on a CD called The State versus Roderick Davis. He said, sour apple bitter bitches, I'm not fucking with them. And that's exactly how I feel about these sour apple bitter bitch hoes in the long count. Guess what? You guys can go ahead and suck on a fucking pour me sucker or a pour me lollipop with fucking, you know what I'm saying? All of the Mike Tyson fans, including myself. But the difference between Mike Tyson's count and Tyson's Fury count is you can visibly see that fucking the guy on the guy, the ref counting on the outside of the ring got up to fucking 13 before the other guy even gave his 10 count. So, hey, man, I mean, look, this is boxing. And my whole thing about that is, too, at the end of the day, what was happening to Deontay Wilder the entirety of that fight? They're just mad because, you know, they're hoping that prayer would be able to vindicate him in some sort of way. Or they're trying to use that as some form of scapegoat for some sort of vindication for all of their maxi pad drippage right now. Because it's a whole lot of maxi pad drippage right now. The menstrual cycles are real heavy. It's in the beginning stages of the menstrual cycle, so you know there ain't no spotting going on. The drip is real heavy. So they extra moody, they extra delusional, you know, their attitude and their thought process is going up and down, you know what I'm saying, like roller coasters. So at the end of the day, you can't even, you know what I'm saying, take anything they saying as real. You just got to just go ahead and just chalk it up like, hey, man, it's just a delusional bunch over here. I know it's that time of the month, and I know you guys are picking a really sour apple bitter bitch straw right now to pull because it's literally the only fucking one that you have. And it's the only one that could possibly sound remotely realistic compared to all of the other delusions you threw out there. So for me, it's nothing more than probably the one excuse that they didn't get to use. And don't we find that funny that was the same excuse they were using in the first Tyson Fury fight? Hey, man, you got 12 rounds to make a fucking statement. If you don't make that fucking statement in 12 fucking rounds, those are a lot of fucking rounds. Because if anybody's been in a fist fight, on the street, you would know that really anything more than them shits don't last no more than a minute for real. A minute will have you tired as fuck. Now imagine you having 12 freaking rounds to go out and make a case for yourself, and you're supposed to be athletically conditioned to, you know, to go through these things. And you mean to tell me out of everything that happened over the course of 12 rounds, the only thing that you can point to is possibly a shoddy count? Well, I mean, I watched that fight as well. And I'm never one to, you know what I'm saying, hate on anybody or lean my favoritism towards anyway. Whatever happens in the ring, I'm with that shit. And I ain't with the fact that y'all motherfuckers is trying to hang your hats on a long count. That shit is not going to fly over this way. And let them keep going with it. Because I got something for their ass too. Fury gave Wilder an ass whooping, then went to the club. Oh yeah. And I got that clip too. It's like, well, what are you going to do now, Tyson Fury? I'm going out to get drunk. Straight like that. That was Fury's response to BT Sports and Fight Hype. He's going out to get drunk. Celebration is a must. Salute, boo. How you feeling today? Got that wrench back. James Jameson salute. He said 10-7 round with 2 knockdowns. Still well down on the scorecard. Absolutely. Absolutely. Very down on the scorecards. I mean, shit, that motherfucker could have had a 10-5 round and he still would have lost that shit. That's how bad it was. That's how bad it was. And there's no way around it, man. There's no way around it, man. Look, he got the delusions pummeled out of him right along with his goddamn soul. Well, I don't know if he got the delusions pummeled out of him, but he's very quiet right now. But the delusion should have been pummeled out his bitch ass along with his soul. Because like I said, there's a few times I visibly saw that fucking shit leaving his body. Pray for him. Yeah, man. Shout out to T. Kong. That's right. USS Cunningham. Like, if Steve Cunningham could drop you, what does that say about Deontay Wilder's power? And that would beg me to ask the question. So is USS Cunny? Is he fucking one of the strongest punchers ever in boxing history? I'll wait. Foreman is the hardest puncher of all time. I put him up there. Definitely, it would have to be between George Foreman, Ernie Shavers, and Mike. For real. It would definitely have to be between those three for me. And of course, Big George Cooney. I would say out of those 4 individuals, I would say from what I've seen all of the years that I watched boxing, those are probably the most devastating punches that I've seen. You know, Mike with a 5'9", 5'10" stature, you know what I'm saying, going out against 6'4" to 6'5", 6'6" giants on a regular basis, knocking them on their ass. Pretty credible opponents, destroying them, manhandling them, fucking the king of 60 seconds, you know what I'm saying, the king of one-rounders, contrary to what Edgar fucking Berlanga thinks. Yeah, man, definitely fucking Jerry Cooney, and definitely Ernie Shavers, man. Do you think Usyk beats Wilder? Yep, because if you look at the Usyk versus Joshua fight, the one thing Alexander Usyk did was he stayed inside Anthony Joshua's wheelhouse. He stayed close enough to where he could get his attack off while living in the danger zone of kind of being basically, you know what I mean, front door in the phone booth as well. So with that being said, with a person as highly skilled as Alexander Usyk is, with a southpaw stance, being very tricky with the switch and all of that shit, very speedy with the combinations, I feel like he will get inside. As soon as he got his opening to get inside, he's not leaving from there. And one thing that he does very well, if you're watching that fight against Joshua, what was the one thing that he was doing? He was keeping his hand busy. You know what I'm saying? So he'll pull that jab out there, keep Deontay's Wilder hand busy the whole time, and that'll lend him enough time to operate. Because one thing we can all agree with here, Deontay Wilder is no defensive specialist. Deontay Wilder is no offensive specialist. Deontay Wilder literally lives his whole entire life off one punch. So when you got a fucking smooth operator and a vicious operator like an Alexander Usyk, how does fucking Wilder fare in a situation like that? Other than Usyk being able to do what he wants, when he wants, however he wants to do it, man. If Usyk wants to dip his motherfucking chicken nuggets in a sweet and sour sauce in front of his girl while they eating inside of McDonald's, it's going down. And there's nothing he could do about it. Because look, man, it comes to a point to where, you know, once again, when you're delusional about your opposition, when you're delusional about what happens to you in the ring, bro, I'm telling you, Alexander Usyk is not the guy you want to be in front of, because there's nothing about this guy's mentality that's going to waver. There's nothing about his attack that's going to change based off the way you punch. I truly think that he's the one guy who don't give a fuck how big you are, how strong you are, how hard you punch, because God gifted him with enough skills and he has enough mental repetition and enough sparring underneath his belt to where he knows what he's going to do and he knows how he's going to operate regardless. And one thing I enjoy about watching Alexander Usyk, he has an uncanny way of drawing you into his fight, and there's no way that you're going to get up out of it unless you quite possibly have an IQ of a Tyson Fury. I just don't know who's going to be able to deal with Usyk, man. And that's why it literally boils down to, if Anthony Joshua can't do what I feel as though is quite arguably the impossible right now, unless he just shows and proves it to me within the ring. And he would have to go out and do something that is completely foreign to what he did in the first fight. I just don't see Anthony Joshua winning that rematch. And the only other person that's visibly available that could possibly stop this dude is shit, Dillian. That man, I'd like to see him versus Dillian White for real. That could be a troubling fight for Usyk as well. But honestly, the top of my list is Tyson Fury, and just the imposing way that Dillian White likes to fight, he would come in there and he would truly operate as well as a heavyweight should. But I'm pretty sure Usyk and White are the same height, so I don't know how he would deal with that that wasping attack that Usyk puts together all the time. Man, it's a lot to deal with, man. That dude ain't no bologna sandwich, man. He's got all of the fixings on, you know what I'm saying? His game got all of the fixing on top of it. The lettuce, the tomato, the onions, all of the above, man. He was blessed with a lot of fucking tools. And it's gonna take another guy who can understand those things to beat him. And I only see one guy visibly right now that could possibly be able to do so. And it doesn't even necessarily just boil all the way down to skill. It just boils down to fucking size and just imposing that shit on you in such a ferocious way. Man, I saw Usyk do a lateral pivot that looked like a glitch in the Matrix. Man, Bruce, man, the boy's special, man. The boy's special. He like the cruiserweight. He like the cruiserweight Loma for real. But the thing about it is, man, I feel like Usyk should have, you know what I'm saying, should have a lot more clout than Vasily Lomachenko for real. I think the way that, you know what I'm saying, them boys' clout is set up, I think it's kind of backwards. I think that Usyk should be the much more popular fighter. Yeah, man, Dillian White will cause issues for Fury. And like I said, man, only time will tell, man, because, you know, Tyson Fury had me feeling some type of way because when it came down to the first time that he was going to be announced to be his mandatory, this motherfucker was ready to Riddick Bowe the whole WBC belt. He was ready to throw that shit in the trash. So is he still going to have those same apprehensions when it comes up? Because we know Tyson Fury is back to drinking alcohol. We know he's back to living life a certain way. And that might play on his training regimens. That might play on, you know, his psyche. So at the end of the day, we know Tyson Fury's personality and his mentality changes like fucking drawers. Or at least if you change in your underwear like you're supposed to one time a fucking day. You know, I would believe so. But it changes all the time. So we don't know what type of mental headspace Tyson Fury is going to be in, because one thing I noticed about Tyson Fury, he truly has to be inspired to want to continue. Yeah, something has to inspire him. I don't know if Dillian White is inspiring enough, but for real, I feel like Tyson Fury needs 2 more fights underneath his belt in the heavyweight division. I don't care if it's Dillian White and Usyk. I don't care if it's Dillian White and Joshua. I feel like he needs those 2 fights to solidify him where I would be comfortable with putting him as far as, you know, this era's, you know, most dominant heavyweight right now. He's going to have those fights because really all Tyson Fury has under his belt is Vlad, a long vacation, coming back, fighting Francisco Payanetta, Sefer Safari, Tom Schwartz, an unknown Otto Wallin at the time who put up a valiant effort and had him in compromising positions he shouldn't have been in. And of course, Deontay Wilder, who we know has a lackluster skill set. So how much stock can I put into, you know, the greatness that is his record? I'm just saying, for me, and for the type of realist that I like to consider myself when it comes to the boxing world, I just need to see him in that mandatory fight against Dillian White. I need to see him take that Usyk fight or that Joshua fight. And do I think he's game? I absolutely do. I don't feel like there's anything out there in the boxing world right now that's telling Tyson Fury why he shouldn't take those fights and why he shouldn't, you know what I'm saying, be able to operate and dominate within the, you know what I mean, within the realms of the 4 corners of those fights. So, you know, only time will tell them. We're going to get to see. Bro, developing a fighting style is exactly like cooking. You need more than one flavor profile. Can't cut all meat the same with the same blade either. Those are facts, man. And there are only a couple individuals right now that operate like that. And one guy that I really see picking up that has a lot of tools in the shed, but he's still green right now and still on the come up is Big Baby Anderson. Big Baby Jared Anderson. Oh my God, he's got beautiful head movement. He's got beautiful shots. He loves to go to the body. He has great fucking footwork. I really see that dude being a major problem for anybody in the top 5 in the heavyweight division. But only time will tell. And we're gonna have to see how it plays out. But as of right now, there's not too many guys that have those things that JD and myself are alluding to. So only time will tell. Lemon pepper chillin'. Shout out to my bro Tyrese, man. What's goody, Brody? Till this day, soul leaving his body till this day, getting the shit, piss, and sweat beat out of him till this day. Baby mama shedding tears for all Deontay's fears till this day. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be that rope that you slumber on. Oh, I'm a burn in hell. Oh, I'm a burn in hell. But fuck him, no. But fuck him. For it won't be long for he needs a stretcher to carry him on. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to take a bow. I'm going to take a bow on that one. That was a hell of a remix, I must say. All off the top. All off the top. All bars. God damn it. Look at him on that rope, though. Look at him. Look at him. He is leaning. He is like, look, the fight is over, all in that image right there. Look, man, they say pictures are 1,000 words. Well, in some cases, they might be 1,000,000 fucking plus. God damn. Like if this picture was like, if you were to explain this picture in emojis, that would be some really funny shit. As a matter of fact, put an emoji in the chat to describe what you feel like is going on with Deontay Wilder on the ropes. That shit is a story all in its own. Like, man, this dude, man, like, bro, imagine. Look at him. Look at him. For real, though, look at him. Oh my God, I'm about to crack a rib in this bitch. Yo, I'm telling you, man, I'm going to be an extremely happy guy all freaking week, bro. This shit is really, 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 really taking my happiness to new heights. It is trampolined and it is transcended to God tier. It's elevated to a God tier level of happiness. On my mama. This guy, Mark, salute. What's up with the bro? I don't think Wilder will ever be the same again, Jeff. He took a sustaining beat in 2 fights in a row. That has come under consideration. Yo, did y'all saw that motherfucker ear was bleeding again, right? So was that a scratch or was that really damage to the eardrum? Because I mean, his shit was visibly leaking from the inside of his ear at the end of that fight. All it is definitely, alluding to something here. Like, is Deontay Wilder going to be okay after this? Because to take a beating by a 19-stone guy, like, I'm just saying, man. And I mean, those weren't no little shots. You can call him Pillow Fist Fury all he wants, but I'm telling you, Fury is a hell of a puncher. He just doesn't put the torque on his shots that's necessary to be, like, visibly devastating. But I don't care who you are. If you were 270 plus pounds, there was no such thing as Pillow Fist. No such thing. Yo, I just wanted to say this too. Shout out to Adam Kalnowski too for being the type sucker that's going, because Adam Kalnowski, he didn't want to get knocked out so fucking bad Saturday night that he chose to hit this man all up in his dick as much as he could to get up out of that fight. Now, it's amazing to me that referee could disqualify him for that low blow within 3 visible low blows. But Errol Spence could go all fucking night just destroying Sean Porter's nuts. I mean, beating on them shits like a goddamn fucking Congo or a pair of drums out that joint. Like, I don't know, motherfucking, I guess fucking Errol Spence took part ownership in his nuts that night. It was like Errol Spence and Abner Mares, like them dudes is like the king of the Congos. Like the way they be beating on people nuts and shit like that. So, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Adam Kalinowski, you know what I'm saying, taking the sucker way out. And if anybody placed that bet off, you know what I'm saying, me saying that I knew that Robert Helenius was going to destroy him. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to y'all in y'all pockets for getting that money. Because, you know, like Adam Kalinowski, man, look, man, your face ain't meant to walk through punches, bro. It's just not. And, you know, I heard an interview where you said, you know what I'm saying, Tyson Fury told you to stay fat. Shame on you for listening to that dude. You got to understand, Tyson Fury says shit. He says a lot of shit and don't necessarily mean it. That motherfucker might tell you next week that he best friends with your grandmother, and you know damn well he ain't never met your grandmother the entirety of his life. But Tyson Fury might think so at that time. So if you were listening to Tyson Fury, dude, you got fucked up. But shout out to you though. Yeah, man. If Robert Helenius starts fighting with that level of confidence, and I think the Kalinowski fight gave him that added element of confidence he needs. Like, he can be a problem in the top 10 of the heavyweight division, man. Long, strong, has, you know what I'm saying, has great knowledge, you know what I'm saying, in the Crunk system. Being over there with Emmanuel Stewart. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Mark's in here, but I believe at the time that Tyson Fury was training in Crunk with Emmanuel, I believe Robert Helenius, Vladimir Klitschko, who else was it? It was Robert Helenius, Vladimir Klitschko, Tyson Fury, and who else? But whatever. I do believe all three of those guys were in the camp at the same time. Fury, Klitschko, and Helenius were all being taught under the tutelage of Emmanuel Stewart at the top. And you could see that it was very visible that Crump, that stiff 1-2 and that step back pivot that he was doing, like, yo, he was hitting them with that joint all night, and he was catching them with that beautiful motherfucking uppercut in the corners, man. Like, Helenius went out there, and, you know, I would give his performance definitely a high A grade, man. Like, he definitely, you know what I'm saying, he definitely got a very, very nice, like, I don't want to grade, I could almost give it an A plus in all honesty, because there was not one point in that fight that he was visibly in trouble or sustained any type of punishment. I mean, all of the punishment was distributed on his end. And shout out to my homie Kokomo, man. Go subscribe to Coke Stokes if you haven't, man. Bro got great content. Yeah, you could definitely see that Robert Helenius was owning him the entirety of that fight. Like, all of the things that I thought that was going to happen on Saturday night, they happened, bro. And the best part about it was, us as boxing fans, we truly won yesterday. I can honestly and wholeheartedly say that we all won. The matchups were dope. You know, like Robert Helenius, Kalinowski, we all wanted to see that again. F.A. Ajagba versus Frank Sanchez, even though I knew Frank Sanchez was going to destroy that kid, because F.A. Ajagba was like one of those overhyped dudes that's like Deontay Wilder trash as well. Literally lives behind like one punch, extremely slow, but isn't methodical on the level of a Joe Joyce. Has a Joe Joyce kind of body build, kind of approach, but nowhere on the level of skill or the talent pool. So it's like, you know, I've never been a fan of F.A. Ajagba and how people big him up. So when he met up with Frank Sanchez, what happened to him was all of the things that I thought was going to happen to him. And if anybody thinks that Frank Sanchez intentionally caught him with that left hook when he went down on his knee, you're sadly mistaken. He fluently caught him while he was throwing a combination. So, I mean, like, at the end of the day, don't shit on Frank Sanchez, because Frank Sanchez was just doing what a fighter was going to do. It's on the referee to step in there and step in quick and try to curve that shit. But those are very, very big individuals. So, man, we got great heavyweight fights. The entirety of that card. We just got to see some really good boxing over the weekend. A lot of devastating finishes, man. And a lot of boxes were checked for me. Overall, I just wanted to be a great weekend for us as boxing fans, and undoubtedly it was that. So, you know, hats off to, you know, Premier Boxing Champions. I don't say that often, but I do when they're doing things right, and hats off to Top Rank. for putting on what I consider an amazing card. And oh yeah, man, shout out to the Zone as well, because I truly enjoyed, and I know that Fury Wilder 3 kind of overshadowed Fowler versus Beefy's fight. But man, the Liam Smith Anthony Fowler fight, man, yo, I could only imagine what it felt like to be in Liverpool to watch that fight live, because the energy, the fight all the way through. I believe Beefy finished it in 8 rounds. It was just amazing fight, man. And you know, just like we truly won as boxing fans on Saturday, yo. And it was just a great showing, man. And I'm just really appreciative to be a part of boxing, and you know, and everything that's going to be continuing to take place for the rest of this year. We get to see Caleb Plant get the fucking aloe vera knocked up out of his fucking pot. And we get to see, you know, Bud Crawford versus Sean Porter. That's next month. So, man, we're looking forward to a lot of good shit, man. Said, what's up, bro? I was in Liverpool. It was a great night of boxing. Man, I know, dude. I know. Because, man, and, you know, shout out to Anthony Fowler, because, you know, Anthony Fowler was, you know, he was green coming up in that situation. And taking on Beefy was a large order for where he was, you know. Being a fighter that only had 16 fights under his belt. We know Beefy was, you know, a former WBO world champion. We know Beefy, you know what I'm saying, has been in, you know, has been competing on a championship level for some years now. So it was a tall order for Anthony Fowler. And believe it or not, he came out in the earlier rounds and he performed how he was supposed to perform. It's just, you know what I'm saying, like, experience definitely takes its toll. And that's what truly beat Anthony Fowler in that fight, because he really had the skill set to do what he do. But one thing I know about Fowler, he visibly gasses in the later rounds and kind of steps his foot off of the gas. And you know, but he put on a great performance, man. He ain't got nothing to hold his head low about. I feel like the bravery that people are, you know, speaking of when it comes to Deontay Wilder's delusions in that fight, I feel like they need to be giving more credit to Anthony Fowler for how he went out there and he did his thing. And the Liam Smith fight compared to what Deontay Wilder didn't do in the Wilder Fury 3 fight. But that's just my take on it. You know what I mean? Everybody might feel different. But hey man, it's just a great fucking weekend of boxing, man. So man, look, that's all I got for you guys today, man. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Of course, you know, I'm already editing right now, so I got some content coming for you guys. Of course, later this week, I think I'm dropping something tomorrow morning. And, you know, me and DT3 got, you know what I'm saying, volume 2 in these boxing streets. That's just going to be popping off today. So, yeah, man, more content for you guys. Let's continue, you know what I'm saying, to see more great boxing, man. Let's continue to shine light on this sport in the right way. And as we always say at the end of the shit, man, it costs you nothing. Pay a nigga no mind, man. So, shout out Coke Stokes, Brian Harkin, Muhammad Ahmed, Tim, JD, Mr. T. I'm going to just say Green because I don't want to butcher the last name. Jovan Rodriguez. Shit, man. Like, everybody that came in the building, man. The Bronze Plumber, Chen Smoke, Skirting Board, John B. Poetic. You know what I mean? Like, great stuff, man. Truth Bomb Jake, salute, man. He said Frank looked hella sharp. Yeah, Frank Sanchez was styling on that boy. Styling on that boy, man. But, yeah, man. That's it, man. It's the motherfucking boss. Respect.